Hello there, I'm Greg with Job Tips and Straight Talk. And today, this is just a from the heart straight talk message. All my straight talk messages are fairly short, but they're also not scripted. I don't go through and re edit to make everything nice and tight and put in some sound effects, a nice, verbiage along the bottom and all that's none of that. It's just me talking to you because sometimes we just need I'll say a swift kick in the behind to sort of jumpstart us. Maybe we are somewhat myopic or victims of, I hate to use the word victim, but of tunnel vision to where we're losing sight maybe of some of the important things. And as I go through my life of being in business for myself, having worked corporate careers, having been a regular employee on the totem pole, to having several people that reported to me over the years, lots and lots of situations have arisen that, man, I just wished that I had had a platform to not just tell the individual with whom I'm counseling the situation, but boy, this would be a message that would be great for others to hear as well. And we're all sometimes in that situation where there's just a nugget that comes to you. You don't have to be a brainiac to have that happen, right? And that nugget is something that would be of value for others to hear as well. So that's what the straight talk videos are about. So today I wanted to talk to you just briefly about getting off the dime, if you will. You may be meandering through your career from job to job to job, not really making any progress, and you may be going to your friends and talking to them about your situation and asking for advice and so on and so forth. And if you're talking to friends who have been very successful, and that's a relative term, I'm very careful how I use that, but very successful simply meaning in this monologue, able to buy a home, have a reasonably nice standard of living, maybe take a vacation every so often, go out to eat to nice restaurants. They have a nice retirement account, or they have a plan for the future. They're raising their children. Life is good. They're not strapped financially. They're doing okay. They may or may not be making $200,000 or $300,000 or millions per year, but you know what? They're doing just fine. And if you're the person who just constantly is struggling, trying to figure it out, trying to figure it out, trying to figure it out, and you're going to that other person who has it together, and that person gives you advice, my recommendation is take it, because you'll find yourself going through years and years and years of life and working and going from job to job to job to get to certainly a certain part of your life where it's kind of hard to start over, maybe even toward the end of your productive years, saying, wow, if I had only done something with my life, if I had only taken the advice that I was given 10 years ago or 15, 20 years ago, might I be somewhere different today? And I share this out of personal experience. I've had friends and family members just over the years in those kinds of situations. And, I'm not the brightest man in the world. I think I have it pretty well together. And I've given what I think has been some pretty good counsel, some pretty good advice, and some things that people can do without a college education. Sometimes with a college education, but certainly you don't have to have the education to do some of the basic commonsensical things that I've implored these individuals to do. And kid you not, 5 years later, they've done nothing with it. 6 years, 8, 10, 15, 20 years later, I know the same folks, they've done nothing with it. And today they're barely making a living, barely living above the poverty level, and still saying, what should I do? So take the advice of trusted people that you know are successful, however you define success, who may be at a level that you want to aspire to. Sit at their feet of wisdom, of advice, of experience. Take in what they have to say. And there is not one good answer. There is not necessarily a one size fits all. But use their advice, go with it, grow with it, do the hard work necessary. It may be advice that says, look, you've got to buckle down and do this, 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 and this, and you're going to get there, whatever there is in their definition. And then do the work. You won't necessarily get to where that person is, unless you have been willing or are willing to do the work that they did to get where they are and go through some of the pains to get there. But that's okay. If you don't do anything, you are assured of not succeeding, right? Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. We learn from those mistakes. So jump on board the advice, go with it. If you trust the individual, they've done well with the advice, all things being equal, you will do well as well. Go with it. If you do not, then be careful not to complain 10, 15, 20 years later about the status of your life, because it really is up to you. Only you can make that happen. Well, that's it. I'm Greg with Job Tips and Straight Talk. I hope you have the kind of day that you want to have. Get out there and make it happen.